Hi, this is another exam revision video to help students studying Cutting Edge Elementary Unit 9. In this unit, you studied comparative adjectives, superlative adjectives, and the vocabulary was describing objects and shops and services. And like with the other revision videos, this is just a brief review of all these points. So the idea is you watch, you practice, and then that way you would revise. So first of all, describing objects, I think there were 12 words. I'll just move this down here. So these, I'm just going to give pictures for a few of the words, but you would go into your book to revise the others. So first we had cheap, easy to use, economical, expensive. I think this picture refers to expensive when it costs a lot of money. Cheap is the opposite of expensive. Fashionable. This picture is probably fashionable. These ladies are wearing modern clothes, expensive handbags. They're fashionable. Fast. Old. Powerful. Then the last one's pretty. Stylish, uncomfortable. So I think for this man, this chair maybe is a bit uncomfortable. Unusual. So here are the 12 words for describing objects. Try to remember how to spell them and how to pronounce them. It's quite important. And then we have comparative adjectives. An adjective describes something. Comparative is compare. So when you look at two things and you describe two things. So let's look at, for example, tall buildings or skyscrapers in Dubai. I'm going to look at two. Emirates Towers, which is 354 meters high, and Burj Al Arab, which is 321 meters high. You can just see them here on the picture. So, Burj Al Arab is very tall. Emirates Towers are taller than Burj Al Arab. They are 354 meters, Burj Al Arab 321 meters. So, tall is an adjective. Taller is a comparative adjective. So, when we put this it makes it comparative because we're comparing two things. Emirates Towers and Burj Al Arab. So, adjective when it's tall becomes taller than. Cheap, cheaper than. Big, bigger than. Pretty, prettier than. So these are short adjectives. They only have one sound, tall, or two sounds, pretty, two syllables. So when it's like this, we add er and than. But these adjectives, now this one, stylish and boring, is like pretty, two sounds. But pretty finishes in Y. So remember that when it finishes in a Y, When it does not finish in Y, like stylish, it's more stylish than. More boring than. Expensive, uncomfortable are long adjectives. Same thing, we use more expensive than, more uncomfortable than. So this is what you need to remember with comparatives and adjectives. You need to, when it's short, er, when it's y, er, when it's long or two syllables, it's more than. And of course, this is English. We have irregulars. There are a few irregulars, two most important ones, good and bad. So you use these adjectives all the time. We do not say gooder or badder. We say better than, worse than. Notice bad is completely different. Both are completely different, to be honest. And for spelling, remember, big is double G, not bigger with one G, big with two Gs. This is because there is a short vowel. The vowel is A-E-I-O-U. This I is on its own. We make it double consonant, double letter at the end. When it finishes in Y, we don't keep the Y like prettier here. We change it to an I. And when the adjective ends in an E, like the word fine, we make it finer. We just add the R, we don't add an ER. So it's not finer, it's finer, like this. Now superlatives are very similar, but let's look. Now I'm going to put in this building, the tallest building in all of the world, the Burj Khalifa, 830 meters. So Burj Al Arab is very tall, Emirates Towers are taller than Burj Al Arab, but Burj Al Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. So here, this bottom one is est, this is superlative. And superlative, comparative is when we compare two things. Burj Khalifa, we're comparing with every building in the world, okay? So when it's more than two things or everything in the world, this is superlatives. So it's really similar. I'm going to use the same adjectives as the previous one. Tall, cheap, big, pretty. The tallest, the cheapest, the biggest, the prettiest. Same when it's short and when it's ending in a Y, like this. But when it's long, same adjectives. The most stylish, the most boring, the most expensive, the most uncomfortable. Same irregulars. We have good and bad, superlative, the best, the worst. We don't use most or like this. Spelling, same rules, biggest, prettiest, finest. So make sure you follow the same spelling rules. And the last point in this unit was shops and services. So I'm going to give you same thing. There are 12 again, I think. So I'm going to give you 4 pictures to help, but the other ones you would have to look up yourself. So the top one left, this is a baker's. Notice apostrophe S, because usually the person runs the baker's. So we put apostrophe S because that person is a baker and he runs it. Baker's. Bookshop. Butcher's, where you buy your meat. Clothes shop. Dry cleaners. Dry cleaners is like this in the picture where you get your clothes cleaned. Estate agents, to buy a house. Gift shop. Hairdressers. Here is a hairdresser's. You can also say salon. And opticians for your eyes. A pharmacy. A post office. This is a post office, Emirates Post. And a shoe shop. So here are the 12 words for shops and services. Please remember how to spell them and how to pronounce them. So in this unit, we did grammar on comparative adjectives, superlative adjectives, and the vocabulary we did was describing objects in shops and services. Okay, thank you. Good luck with your revision.